Hello, and welcome to Reality Remix, the podcast, episode 4. I'm your host, Dale Jensen, and an item in the news that you might have missed a week ago is Joe Manchin says he's approached every day about becoming a Republican, quote, I don't know where in the hell I belong. Maybe because what it means to be a centrist means something far distant from the current Democratic Party platform. And we move into Reality Remix. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you'll know when we posted new content. It doesn't cost anything, and it really will help out the channel, so thank you in advance. With me in the studio today are Dennis.
Hi, Dale. The Joe Manchin thing with getting his offers. He wants to be in the center, but that's not where the Democratic Party is. They're swinging far left, and if you can't go that far left, they might be like trying to sway him over. We'll see.
Yeah. Also with me is Solomon. Evening.
Greetings. How are you tonight?
Doing very well, thank you. Episode 4, Trump's new social media. In January 2020, Donald Trump was essentially silenced by high-tech media in the United States, and that should be 2021, excuse me. We would be, fortunately, spared of his mean tweets against perceived enemies like Rosie O'Donnell, but we also lost the voice of 74 million Americans, an arbitrary decision made on behalf of the segment of America that didn't like the president. As we approach the 2022 midterms and, more importantly, the 2024 presidential election, Donald Trump has made his move to get his voice back into the social media arena. Dennis, what's this new platform?
Well, in an attempt to leverage the big social media giants, former President Trump has announced the deployment of a new social media platform called Truth Social. It's due out in beta in November of 2021, this month, real close, and planned to release early 2022 of the public version. There should be a competitor to what many have seen as the big tech gone awry with less censorship, less jail time, and less banning. There's still Parler to use, Getter, and Gab, but none have the resources, megaphone, and following that Trump has amassed. Popularity will take you places. A recent article on Newsweek.com, however, tells us of another problem Team Trump is encountering. Trump's Truth Social platform is using Mastodon source code, which is open source and free to use and distribute, no problem there, but you must make all of your own source code public. So you can tinker with the code a little bit, but you have to re-release that as public. And lo and behold, if Truth Social did that, they're open to hackers because it's all source code and they could look for exploits. Mastodon's founder, Eugene Rocco, issued a blog post that says Truth Social's license will be revoked in 30 days if all of the source code isn't released. Just another hurdle for the Team Trump. Then throughout all this, one wonders if we truly need another social media website between Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the other ones that are out there, big and small. It boils down to the fact that the left hates Trump. They despise the right, and I believe they will never stop the tirade of animosity that's working so well for them. To be woke is to be unchallengeable. What really can we do?
Well, I think part of the problem that this new platform faces is that one of the reasons that we have such a polarized environment is that people have, through social media, put themselves in echo chambers where they didn't like people posting about Donald Trump. And they banned or they blocked their friends who were posting things that they didn't like. And eventually you get to the point where the only voices you hear are ones that are in complete agreement with you. And then it begins to seem like you are right about everything. that, your perspective on COVID or the vaccines, by filtering out everybody that disagrees with you, you come to think that reality is not what reality is. It's what you think it is, because that's all you hear. And I think the danger in something like Trump's new social media is it's going to play into that, because hardly anybody on the left is going to be a part of it. And
Well, I almost
so,
beg to differ with you there. The left is going to join, of course, so they control, right?
well, I not, as a user, you really exert little control over anything other than yourself.
Mm.
Yeah, you can join it and post stuff, but people are going to downvote it. It'll be interesting to see what sort of processes are in place. It's one thing to say, oh, we're going to be completely open, and we're not going to ban anybody. We're not going to shadow ban anybody. We're not going to demonetize anything. But the proof's in the pudding, and if people join this social network and they just spend all their time trolling other people, is that just going to be tolerated? Is that going to be like, well, okay, that's just the way that's the environment that we're setting up?
Yeah, exactly.
And
And you're not going to have any control as far as, the Trump team running the website, if you don't establish some rules.
right, right, everything's got to have terms and conditions, and if you violate the terms and conditions, I mean, basically, it sounds to me like what he's doing is putting together a platform designed to be Donald Trump's platform, that it's the one place on the internet where he can't be banned because he's the one in charge of banning.
Yeah, and that cracked me up when they permabanned him from Twitter. I mean, I didn't mind his tweets, but they got to be quite, profuse in number, and I would be often swipe left, swipe left, swipe left, 20, 30 times over the course of the night. Wake up, you check your tweets, and there's that many of them. It's like, okay, but after they permabanned him, I quit using Twitter. I just, I use Facebook. I'm not a member of Instagram. So, can I say I'm doing my part and waiting for something better to come along? Or is he just throwing a monkey wrench into the whole fray? Because that's going to keep him in the limelight again. And the liberals, the Democrats are still going to attack him. That doesn't really change anything just by making a new social media platform.
Yeah, that's true. And I think for myself, I have an account on Twitter. I've had it for a long time. I think
Yeah, same
I
here.
and I don't go there, because on the rare occasions where I do, to me it's just a cesspool. I mean, I'll see a thing about my governor Ron DeSantis posting a video of something that is interesting to me because I live in Florida and it affects me. So I go watch it, and then I look at the comments on it, and it's all people just ripping him up and down, and just, I mean, it's, to me, it's a pointless place to be, because if you are that person, if you are Ron DeSantis, you're not going to ever read the comments, because they're all just terrible things being said by terrible people. And if I'm just a casual user of Twitter who doesn't do any tweeting, and just again use it as a source of information for things that I'm interested in, I'm not going to read the comments, because it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's human nature to see the comments below any sort of post like that. The point you're making is that it's all negative, okay, about your governor, but they did the same sort of thing, and with Trump, it was all negative, but he was the frickin' president at the time, okay? So, and you just have no respect for that office whatsoever. Sure, he did cross boundaries with putting himself on social media, but that was because he was a celebrity before he was a president, and that's the sort of limelight he likes to have. Some people have called him a narcissist, but calling somebody a narcissist is a negative comment, and whether it's true or not, they're allowing certain posts to go on social media, and then other posts are taboo. You can't say something like that. And the people doing the censoring or the algorithm whatsoever is something that really needs to be addressed in the future with any social media platform, because you can, for example, on Tinder, okay, you can block somebody, you can ban somebody, or you can report somebody or something like that. But the younger millennials are using Tinder to like shame people, and it's like, I'm not a member of Tinder, but I read Reddit and I came across an r/Tinder thing, and it's like these women are just viciously brutal, and they're more left than center, okay? And what they're doing is they're literally tearing apart men because they're getting some sort of social gratification from that kind of behavior, and it's not ever reprimanded, so that becomes their lifestyle. So you have a problem not with just social media, but the degradation of society in and of itself, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing that'll be interesting to see is what the interaction will be between this platform and other social networking or social networking platforms. For example, you can find YouTube videos posted to Facebook, or you can find tweets that are reposted to Facebook. Will Facebook allow you to post something on Facebook that's coming off of this Trump social network?
I would expect them not.
Yeah, you would kind of think so, because obviously, if they're banning Trump from the president himself from their service, but then again, I mean, I could go to Facebook right now and post a news story that references President Trump, or post an interview with the president on 60 Minutes or Fox or wherever he was giving interviews. And that's kind of the same thing. So I'm not sure how they're going to handle that. That will be kind of interesting. One thing that I was going to say is, for me, and again, this sort of came out of the realization that I don't need a bunch of negativity in my life that's sort of self-generated by posting controversial things on my Facebook page. For me, my Facebook page is to stay in touch with my family, with friends, particularly friends in other countries that I've met on holidays, and the politics and stuff. The few times that I've sort of, crossed the line and said, this is kind of important. I want to post this on my Facebook wall. It's never gone very well. I anger a number of people, and I think that the reason that I anger them is because they have put themselves into this echo chamber, but didn't kick me out because they didn't really realize that I was not of their same mind and thinking, because I don't really talk about controversial issues on my Facebook page the way that I do here or on Quora or other websites. So it'll be interesting to see if that methodology goes into Trump's social media, or if Trump's social media is just going to be 100% politics 100% of the time.
Well, I can't say that he would be that narrowly focused on it. He calls it True Social, so you would think that he would be like releasing some factual information, but the title itself is, he picked it for a reason. The title itself is very encompassing, so you don't really know where he's going to go with it. right?
Right. Yeah, it's very generic, but again, you just have to assume that he's looking for a platform to get his voice heard again, and B, uh, the means of organizing people ahead of the 2022 and 2024 elections.
True there. Yeah, that's a substandard way of doing free advertising, but it still works because 75 or 79 million voters that Trump had.
74.
74, yeah. 74 million people are more than likely going to join, so he pretty much has an instant user base. The question is how many of the 80 million that voted for Joe Biden will also join? At least half?
Well, we could debate those numbers and, whether there's actually 80 million people that voted for
Well, yeah, that
President.
was kind of my point there because, those numbers just simply don't work at all.
Right. Yeah. According to the polls, Joe Biden, who didn't bother campaigning and generated about as much excitement as a salad, got more votes than the most popular Democratic president of all times, Barack Obama, which, yeah, I'm not really sure that that's the case, but
That's a topic for another episode about the whole voting thing. Was he cheated? Was he not? We could go over the numbers there. But the bottom line is once each state certifies their electoral results, there's nothing in the Constitution that we can do to change it. So they stole it,
So one last question. When you look at the landscape of social media, you have all of these different companies that are sort of competing, but they're not because they kind of focus on different things. Like Twitter is basically a texting service. Facebook is, or Instagram is for kind of posting pictures. YouTube is videos. And then Facebook is sort of an amalgam of all of it. What is your sense? What's the nearest thing to uh, uh, Trump's social media of those different ways of getting information out?
Wait, could you repeat your question?
Well, the existing social media networks. Twitter is these little pithy messages.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube is videos. Instagram is pictures, and Facebook is kind of an amalgam of all of those things. But they also have apps and games and chat and things like that. Which of these do you think is what Trump is looking to replicate?
Oh gosh, yeah. I don't see gaming being on, the Farmville and whatnot being on True Social. I think he's going to cut down to the quick of things and take it in a direction politically based, but I don't think that it's going to be somewhat like ATS was, where they have different forums for different interests, but they still have their main forums for, the hot topics of the day, so to speak. Will he go as far as to attack the other celebrities as he continued to do, like making fun of Rosie O'Donnell, get you banned for a week.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
but since he's in control, then he can pretty much say whatever he wants. But then all the mainstream media are going to pick up on anything that's posted on there. Today in the headlines, posted by President Trump from True Social Network, he said XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to go through the whole news cycle. And it's like, come on, it's his private place. You guys don't have to go there.
Right.
Yeah, so do you give him the freedom just to have his own place that he can set up and he can make all the rules for that place? Or do you have to have something like Facebook where they have all these algorithms that ban people for what they say? It would be nice to get our First Amendment rights back.
Yes, absolutely. And I, for one, will welcome this new medium, take a look at it and give it a shot. Just like I've got an account on MeWe and on Parler and all these other places.
Yeah, well, I could hardly stand Twitter, so MeWe would be out of the question. Or Parler, which was the Twitter clone?
Parlor, I think.
Yeah. So I never signed up for it. I never signed up for MeWe because I know that the tech giants have more money and more resources to throw at things. And they were hosting on MeWe, I think was hosting on Amazon Web Services, and Amazon shut them down. So that was, hey, you can't use our equipment. Sorry.
Right.
Goodbye. And so that's another form of shutting somebody down, taking away their First Amendment right.
Yep, it's all about control. You've been listening to Reality Remix, the podcast. Thank you again for hitting that thumbs up button, as well as for subscribing to the channel.